So please welcome our next panelists. We have here David Cash, Rebekah, Natalia, and Adrian, and Amber that are going to be talking about the NFT digital fashion revolution is here. Are you in?
Hello, everybody. Okay, I believe they've already started our time, so let's we'll get going. Amazing. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Thank you all for sticking around. It's me again. Just to repeat the intro, but in a shorter form, I believe. My name's David Cash. I'm the CEO of Cash Labs, also curator of the Decentraland Foundation, and do a whole bunch of other things in the space, and absolutely love virtual fashion and trying to cover, how this is all happening in the space. And today, this next talk is called The Virtual Fashion Revolution. Are you in? I believe is the title, if I'm remembering correctly. So I believe everybody on stage here is in, and I would like to start with a few introductions just so you can know who's sitting up here today and who is going to be part of this conversation. So why don't we go down the line? Amber, I see you're already mic ready, so Amber from the Fabricant, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Amber, and I'm co-founder and creative director of the Fabricant. We are a digital-only fashion house, and we create clothing that is always digital and never, ever physical. And with that, we try to create a new narrative for the fashion industry, which is very much needed. So, yeah, that's it.
Julian?
Hi, so I'm not exactly Natalia Modenova, our co-founder who cannot be here right now. My name is Julian, I'm the head of growth at DressX. We built something that we call the Meta Closet, and we're trying to bring interoperability of digital fashion wearables into the space by creating an app and an environment where you can collect, store, wear, and access all of your digital wearables and bring them into every virtual space. The same way David is bringing his black cap to Milan and to Venice and to Paris and to London and to NFT.NYC, you should be able to bring your Fabricant digital wearables to Sandbox, Decentraland, Zoom calls, Instagram, and we're providing a solution for that.
Fabulous, fabulous. Adrian, what up, to you?
How's it going, everybody? David, you got double billing, back-to-back panels, so congrats.
Hey, we are in New York.
A double dose of David Cash. My name's Adrian Baschuk. I'm CCO of Eternity. We're a big NFT marketplace focused on notable figures, rights, licenses, IPs, and we bring in more so sports figures into digital wearables, so taking a lot of sports jerseys and putting them into metaverse activations on Sandbox and Decentraland to start, but a lot more. A lot of soccer players, football players, and baseball, basketball, etc. So more so, I'm much less fashionable than this esteemed group here.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Rebekah.
Thank you. I'm Rebekah Keida. I'm the founder and COO of Visical, what I lovingly refer to as a metaverse marketing agency. I feel like people get a kick out of that. But what that really means is that we work with clients, brands, both that are Web 2 and Web 3 to help them navigate a little bit like I've heard that you do as well. So simple in the sense that, actually Adrian and I have worked together. I've worked on projects with DressX previously with clients. But what I found is that a lot of people were really getting brands, as in people were getting stuck on the strategy side, and they really did not know how to implement. So you have companies that are like, here, we have a tech solution. They're like, why do I need this? What is this for? How do I use it? And then when you step out, they actually need like 7 other things, right, to integrate a holistic solution. So that's kind of where physical fits in. So we're bridging the gap between the virtual and the physical.
Awesome, awesome. Really happy to be joined by all of you today. I mean, this is very much a burgeoning industry. We've been talking about it now for a few panels, but there's a lot to do, and we really do need people like everybody up here on stage, and hopefully a bunch of you in the audience building what it means to have virtual fashion, both in our tangible lives, let's say, and also in the metaverse. So yeah, really excited for this panel. I want to kick it off basically with the title of this panel. This is supposed to be the virtual fashion revolution. I do feel like there are some revolutionary elements going on right now. As we talked about in the previous panel, Metaverse Fashion Week just happened in Decentraland. A whole bunch of other events, are taking big steps forward. Brands are taking big steps forward. When I was in Paris not that long ago, I go to Printemps and I see a whole installation by DressX, and I know they're doing one now again at Cannes. So, we really are starting to permeate the mainstream slowly but surely. But going back to that word, revolution, I believe that there is something inherently revolutionary to anybody working in this space right now. So kicking it off with a true revolutionary, Amber, what are you doing at the Fabricant right now that you would consider revolutionary?
Oh, big words, revolutionary. Yeah, I think the Fabricant is not even a brand, it's a movement. You know, it's like, it's creating a new way of looking at what fashion can mean in this virtual space and the way we dress ourselves. And starting from the idea that there was just too much physical products in this world, and also of the fact that we could, you know, create new identities within the virtual space, that is where the Fabricant was born out of. And it's just one big experiment. Like all the time we're creating new experiences, seeing what the world needs and what we are here to create and what we're here to do together. And I think on our end, what we're creating now is a platform which enables any creator to monetize their craft by co-creating together. So in the fashion industry, what you see a lot is that there's fashion brands stealing ideas from young designers, stealing stuff from other cultures without ever giving credit. You see it every single day, every single season. Young designers post something on Instagram and it gets stolen, and you know their sort of creative IP is ruined. And what our platform allows you to do is to put in a garment that you have created, and someone else can take your garment and put a fabric on that and create their own design. And when they put the two together and the garment gets sold, everybody gets the same cut. So it's kind of equalizing the idea of creativity and how to work together. Plus it's opening up the playing field of wanting to work together again. Because right now a lot of people are also very scared of collaboration. And what this enables you is to collaborate in a fair way where everybody gets the same cut, even if the garment gets sold after and after and after. So it enables new revenue streams for creatives, and that's what we're extremely passionate about. And also because it's opening up new avenues of creativity where it doesn't just have to be the repeating thing of what we see in fashion right now, where it's constantly just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just plain fucking boring. So what we're doing is like enabling this new creative side, and that's what we're really passionate about. I don't know if it's revolutionary, but it's for sure different than anything that anyone has ever done.
I would say democratizing the fashion system is pretty revolutionary. Yeah, like round of applause. I mean, awesome, thank you, Amber. Julian, what is DressX doing that you would consider revolutionary?
Yeah, I mean, I think Amber said right, you know, in the way that this whole new way of collaborating, co-creating, and you know, having the trackability, and you know, everybody getting paid for what they deserve, is applicable to what we do as a revolutionary solution to digital fashion, but it's also applicable to most of the solutions in Web3, thanks to the technology that we're all using right now. Like back in the days, like if you will never see like a Adidas shoes on a Nike website, right? But you can see Fabricant products in DressX app. Right? This is something that is really like doable in this new industry, and that was not done before. So this enabled a new level of creativity, a new level of collaboration. And now we work with brands. We work with a lot of like different fashion brands like Fendi, Balenciaga, H&M. And when they come to us, the first step, you know, we always have to educate them now. You know, it's like it's not going to be done the way you used to do your collaboration and your partnerships. You know, we're going to have to educate you and teach you how now this space is working. You know, there is less competitivity, more collaboration, more co-creation, more freedom, more transparency. You need to be fully transparent on what you're doing. A lot of like sustainability involvement as well at DressX. Like we created and patented a new way to calculate sustainability impact of each campaign or collection or product that we produce. So yeah, I think the revolutionary part happens here, and the co-creation, collaboration, the sustainability impact, and the freedom. We're all free to do whatever we want now and, you know, make it happen.
Awesome. Very well said. Adrian, any thoughts?
I like to say that we're progressing very fast within the industry in Web3 and NFTs and Metaverse, that the target keeps shifting every 6 months and different companies are playing catch up. That's why what we've done is taken it slowly in terms of bridging the physical and digital. So every drop that we do, let's say with the Dallas Cowboys or with Lionel Messi that we did, we would offer like a physical jersey as a reward to buyers of the NFTs, and then we would have the digital wearable that they then be able to use in a sandbox or a Decentraland activation coming soon. So we want to slowly tote consumers along this journey, because we're moving very fast as an industry, but the lay fan and the lay person, especially with us focused on sports and fashion, so to speak, in the world of fandom, which brings in a whole retail mass audience. That's what we're focused on, trying to bring not the first adopters, but the overall mass consumer adopters. And that's going to take time, and that's why we want to pair every drop with a physical and a digital asset both, and that brings them along the journey that we're so rapidly evolving on. I'm sure everybody in this room who's working in the industry can attest to the fact that we're playing catch up with each other on a minute-to-minute basis.
Oh, it's nonstop. Rebekah, anything you want to add?
Yes, I do. So at Visical, it's really interesting because although as many people want to say it's a revolution, I think it's an evolution, especially working with big brands, that when I'm like, you know, digital or virtual only, and they're like, oh, they have like a visceral reaction. They like short circuit a little bit in their brain sometimes. And I think for them, right, there's so much fear. And I always go back to, like, I love kind of just making, you know, somewhat what I consider similar references. And, you know, if you look back and especially big brands in luxury, e-commerce, right, and like the .com growth, many of them didn't get websites until 2007, 2011, where they were actually selling online. And actually, shockingly, I met with the chairman of Hermes, and they were actually the first in 2001, and which was shocking to me, because you think that they're like, everyone was so surprised at that, which was very trailblazing, right? But at the end of the day, it was also not the best thing, because now they have to redo the whole thing completely. They can't even upgrade it, it's so old. But at Visical, really, going back to like the evolution standpoint, it's really baby steps, right? When it comes to mass market adoption, my thesis and my conviction point, well, I think everything's gonna become a video game, right? Or like some version of a game, including e-commerce and shopping, because the shopping experience I see is terrible. Here are some links, here's some photos, maybe there's a video. It's not social, it's not anything like the in-store experience, and these brands crave that. They want something that's really authentic to like you coming in store and being wowed by the whole display, right? And it's a little almost frightening. And so it's like, how do we use this new technology, elements of Web3 and the metaverse, to make something more immersive and more social? Like, that's very, very interesting to us, and kind of like how we see it really, really being that evolution is baby steps, and also kind of hiding the technology, right? It's like, how can you have NFTs, a metaverse, a wallet, blockchain, but not have to market that to people who might not understand what those words mean and are very frightened. So
Amen.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't go to an iPhone and be like, it's cloud computing and it has this. No, it's an iPhone. It's very useful.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's really interesting, because when I think about the blockchain community, it's very engineer focused, and I think NFTs were such a great implementation. In early 2018 is when I did my first NFT project with Richemont Group. So imagine early 2018. Everyone thought I was insane. And so I'm like very happy that we're sitting here.
I was around.
He was there, he saw it, yeah. Everyone thought I was crazy. But what was fascinating about learning about it is really understanding like the different immersive realities. And even today, right, it's like this dress, for example, is a Chanel dress, but it's cryptographically linked to the blockchain with NFC technology. There's technology where essentially at the point of sale, my NFT can be transferred into my wallet using my email address, right? And I know some of this is like not completely decentralized, because, you know, if you have a custodial wallet, but I think to get people there, we've got to be a little bit more behind the scenes, the magic behind the scenes, as I like to say.
Web 2.5. It's like, yeah,
kind of.
the sign of the times. Excellent. I do want to be conscious of time. Of course, we don't have a ton of time today. But considering everybody on stage and all the things that we do, we're all very much working, you know, in this bleeding edge space. I think it's really important to consider what futuristic means when we're considering all of our brands, because each of our companies, you know, are doing things that we're onboarding people into, let's say, a new technology on a daily basis. So when we're considering the idea of future-proofing, when we're actually considering each of our respective projects, companies, lives, what are your considerations right now in terms of the dreaded question, what's next, but also in terms of you know, what technologies you see as necessary? I know there's a lot of importance being thrown on XR right now, but just curious from each of your perspectives, what are each of you doing to future-proof your projects? Amber?
Yeah, I think the first step is really to make things accessible, because, you know, obviously I'm a big fat nerd, but the rest of the industry maybe is not. So how I got to use 3D was because I'm just plain fascinated with this technology, right? And I would dive into it, spend hours and hours learning how to make things in 3D, and then create 3D collections. But that's not for everyone. And I think, thinking of making it accessible for everybody to create and to express themselves, and for this to really be used at a mass scale, it needs to be accessible and easy to use, and for people to be able to get into and express their creativity. Because that's what fashion is all about. It's about expression. It's about identity, how you perceive yourself, but also how the image you put out in the world and the things you create. And I think as fashion lovers, what we love to do is create looks, is dress ourselves and play around with these elements. So I think the first step is to make that as accessible as possible for people to get into. Because the whole of fashion industry right now, like, there's still very much Web 2. Everybody lives on Instagram. There's nobody in the Discord channels. That's just hardcore gamers and, people from Web 3. And I think for me, that's like a very interesting bridge that we have to cross, is how are we going to make that accessible? And how are we going to merge those worlds into something maybe new? Maybe it doesn't have to be Instagram, it could be something else, but it should be accessible and also easy to use, and for people to really be able to have the freedom to go wild in their creativity to the wildest way.
Yeah, I mean, like, it will start being, really successful when people will use it without saying they're using it.
Exactly.
It's like you don't go on Instagram and say, "Oh, I'm on the internet, doing some post right now." It's like I'm on Instagram. But yeah, proof. You say how to future-proof, our solutions. Future-proofing anything in Web3 is impossible.
Yeah.
It's like next week maybe there's a new tech or a new chain that is 10 times better than what we already implemented on the marketplace for the last 6 months. So let's start over again. But to future-proof anything on Web3, I'd say, just keeping an open mind and just, coming to these meetings and meeting more, interesting people who are building great things, and keeping yourself up to date with what's being done and what's valuable and what you can integrate and use and leverage and collaborate with. So always keeping room in our products and our solutions with a room for adaptivity room, while building towards our vision, which is making things accessible, simple, usable, especially for our products, and having people using it for fun, not for only necessity, but for fun and creativity expression. We're getting there, and we're seeing, honestly, for the last year, so a lot of shift in this fashion industry. And as Amber was saying, it's not like the gaming or crypto space where people are super advert with these technologies. Our fashion communities are more they're non-NFT and non-crypto native people, so we need to educate them a lot first. So a lot of educational content, making processes faster and easier, implementing credit card payments on the marketplace, this kind of things. So yeah, we're working towards that vision.
No, absolutely. Novelty is very important for our brains to actually want to comprehend something.
We never sleep,
Absolutely. Adrian,
no more sleeping.
Yeah.
It's learning and adapting all the time.
Absolutely.
You mentioned XR. I think AR is the next big, easy consumer-facing frontier. We have an app at Eternity coming out next month with AR capabilities built in, and that will revolutionize stuff. The Fabricant and DressX, what these guys do are revolutionary in and of itself on the tech front. I think us on the implementation front. Let's say your favorite shirt or hat or pair of shoes, you can't wear them every single day, but when you're in the metaverse and there's a digital avatar, so to speak, we've done stat-changing sort of NFTs that update in real time with player stats. That'll happen with the same thing with jerseys. Teams come out with different jerseys. I'm from Miami. What up, Miami? The Miami Heat have this line of different jerseys that come out, so you can have that in the digital world. And then just checking on the audience, how many people are working in NFTs, Web3, and Metaverse? Some. How many are working in fashion and just curious as to what's going on? So those have to connect. Those bridges have to connect. And talk to any of these panelists afterwards in the fashion industry, how you can utilize DressUp, Fabricant, Physical, et cetera, because that's where real connections are made. I want to make sure to touch upon that.
No, great point. Rebekah, I have the same question for you, but I do actually want to angle it a little bit, because I don't have that many people who I can relate to in terms of having to, advise, right? Advise brands. And there is this kind of expectation to be a step ahead. And you know, there's a lot that I think all of us have to do on a regular basis, but I feel like a lot of it is just being very, very looped in. So I'm curious from your perspective, same question. When people are posing this question to you, maybe what's your answer?
Well, I think at least on the first point about future-proofing, right? I think having great alpha is key. Our team members are actually, they've been doing, you know, some of them have been doing virtual fashions for 20 years, 3D fashion, so like imagine that. And I find that anytime I meet a unicorn who, and my definition of a unicorn in this case is someone who is technical, can code, and has a deep grasp of technology and the limitations and possibilities, but also has a passion for fashion, which is like not a very large group of people, as you can imagine.
If you are one of those people, please feel free to talk to any of us. Yeah.
We have some, yeah, amazing. We got a couple unicorns in here. Because, you know, what I found is that folks that work at NVIDIA and they work, you know, on some of these, you know, like the hardware and the software, right, that they have, you know, maybe they're just different ambitions. And I was jokingly saying this to someone the other day, is that imagine like so many things in sci-fi and fantasy novels have come true, right? And I'm like, well, I guess a lot of engineers love sci-fi and fantasy. I mean, I know I do. I'm not an engineer, but those things kind of come to reality. But then I think back on the clueless virtual closet. I'm like, that's been around since 20 years, and no one has made that. And I'm like, I don't think a lot of engineers were watching Clueless, because that should be a thing, right? I see a lot of women nodding their heads, because that's how I feel. And so those are the things that I'm like, as a woman who I consider myself a technologist and a futurist, I'm like, what do I want to see, right? It's like, if I have something nice, it's like, why do I buy a nice thing? And I have no immutable representation of this, that it's like, this is when I bought it, this is what it looks like, here's all the metadata about it, all the fun info. I don't have that. I'm in Excel putting in my purchases. I'm like, I don't know, that just seems really antiquated. So when I talk to women who are 60, or men or women who are 60, or people that are a little bit younger, we all kind of want the same thing from technology and fashion, and it doesn't exist. And so that's what I'm trying to build. But also, to your point, being tech agnostic, which helps future-proof a little bit.
Absolutely. Being open. And I have to say, as if they didn't make that. That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
We got one. Unfortunately, we're running out of time for this talk, but I do want to go back and forth one more time with all of our incredible panelists. I think that, you know, all of these brands are doing so much, we do not have enough time to delve deeply. Please do take a moment to look into the Fabricant, to look into DirectX, to look into Eternity, and to see what these amazing companies are doing. And please check out Rebekah's agency. I'm going to be checking out Rebekah's agency.
And if you want to, we're going to stalk each other after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And please also check out Cash Labs and Decentraland and see what's going on right now in the metaverse. I do want to encourage all of you, as was mentioned already, to interact with each other, especially in this room. I think coming from NFT.NYC last year to this year, we actually have a virtual fashion space. That's a win from my perspective. So we've gone up in the ranks this year, so that's very exciting. Thank you. And just as we're ending, we have a couple minutes left. I would love to just pass the mic around one more time and let these lovely folks tell you where you can find them in the metaverse or in virtual space when we finish this panel. Amber, do you want to start?
Yeah, we're everywhere. We're on Discord, Instagram. Yeah, you can find us at Fabricant.studio. Next week, we're doing a drop together with World of Women, which is going to be extremely exciting. Who has a World of Women? Is anybody in a space?
Okay, we got some.
Yeah. And you can claim your crypto purse. And then you can actually start minting some of the looks next week. We have all kinds of artists joining the drop, which is super exciting. So next week that's going to drop, and in this summer we'll drop our accessory line, where you can buy some earrings to wear in Zoom calls and all of the things you're doing in the virtual world, and have them as NFTs as well. And many more things to come in the coming year. So you can find us on Discord, the Fabricant.studio, Instagram, yeah, basically anywhere. We're really easy to find.
Join their Discord and say hi. Julian?
Yes, thank you. First of all, you can come by the Marriott Hotel Conference Center. We're on the 7th floor. And then you can find us on NFT.NYC, where you might see very soon David Cash curated NFT collection coming in a couple of next months. We're on Instagram, DressX, Twitter, DressX.com, and Discord as well. And you'll find us, if you're in Europe right now, we're doing a Snapchat and Vogue gala with AR fashion. We just launched the Baschuk fashion collection as well on the mobile application. So if you go on the iOS store or Android store and you look for DressX, You'll be able to wear Baschuk AR items in virtual fashion and Fabricant outfits as well in virtual fashions. Yeah, and just don't hesitate to come by after this panel and ask questions and talk. And I'll be here for the entire week. So.
Yeah, find any of the panelists in the back or out front afterwards. Eternity, ETHERNITY, Twitter and Instagram. And there you go.
Oh, Rebekah, you can find us at Visical. And I just want to comment one thing. So I was just at Vivitech in Paris, and DressX was there, which was great to see Natalia and Daria. But I just want to say, hearing the chairman of LVMH on stage, who's like 70, talk about NFTs and metaverse being part of their core strategy was really exciting. So this room may seem small, but imagine thousands and thousands of people, especially in Europe, that are so excited about this topic. So
It's happening. Thank you all so much for spending so much time with us today. My name is David Cash.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Look up Cash Labs and go to Decentraland. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. This was an excellent panel.